Hey there, chosen ones. Recently, I found this huge theme that I feel is really relevant for a lot of empaths and highly sensitive people out there. And it's like this huge conflict that is reflected from a belief system that most of us hold within us unconsciously that creates a lot of unnecessary drama and conflicts in all of our interpersonal relationships. So that's why in the video today, I felt inspired to answer the question, why are you surrounded by so much drama and conflict with your friends to the extent that you feel overwhelmed by their problems and by always trying to help them, so much so that eventually you start abandoning yourself and forgetting your own needs and values in your own life. So if this is a theme that you've experienced in your life, stay with me until the end of the video, because through the story I will share with you and through the epiphanies I've had going through that story, I believe this will help you surrender the belief that makes you attract conflicting and dramatic situations with everybody in your life, so that you can finally choose yourself and start living your own unique life. Now, that being the case, let's directly get into the topic. Hey there, I am Daniel, a relationship alignment coach and a creator of the Soulful Relationships Experience Program. It's a one-on-one coaching program that helps empaths, HSPs, and chosen ones to completely eradicate any toxic, codependent, narcissistic, power struggle relationship dynamics from their life, and just within the span of 4 months, surround themselves with only people who support and lift them up through their life journey. So if you're curious about this program and how it works, you can check out the free training in the description below. It's the 3 phases you need to pass through until you surround yourself with people like that. But now, that being said, let's directly get into the topic. So why is it that sometimes we are so surrounded by conflict and drama to this extent that it's like other people's problems become more important than living our own life, following our own dreams, and living in alignment and in integrity, in connection to our own intrinsic values? Well, I've realized in my journey, because I've had this situation that lasted for a couple of months in my life, and at this stage I was looking at all my limiting beliefs and letting go of them one after another. And so I found myself in this situation in which I was living with a friend of mine who had a little bit of narcissistic personality disorder. He had these narcissistic tendencies. He always cared of himself. He always wanted everybody to like him. He was willing to put others down so that he was on top of them. And I was living with that guy because we were co-living together, because I knew that as an empath I would learn so much from him. And so eventually we were living together for I think like a year and a half together or something. And so at one point he started really appreciating all my efforts, all my intentions to go in meditation, to work on myself, to like become more self-aware, self-conscious of my limiting beliefs, start creating my life consciously. He expressed interest in that. And since he was having really toxic and codependent relationships with every woman that entered his life, and now he was dating one of my friends. um, she was this cute girl that had a history that before she was like, a lot of men liked her, and she was always choosing like the best of all of the people who liked her, the best one. And so eventually the friend of mine, he started liking this girl. He started having affection to her, right? And so they started dating together. They were going out, but eventually his manipulative tendencies started creating problems in their relationship, which wasn't an official relationship. They were still dating, but they wanted to create a relationship. And so he started seeking my advice and started sharing with me all his problems, all the drama, all the conflicts they experienced. And of course I shared with him what I could to help him, right? So this is what we do, like all of us, every empath and every highly sensitive person, when we're asked to help, we help, of course. And so I did that. And a couple of days later, I also went out with this friend of mine, the girl he was dating, and she also started sharing things about him that she found problematic. And I also gave her advice and tried helping her. And so eventually, like, the guy I was living with, he started trusting me more. And so he was talking with this girl, he was applying some of the advice I shared with him, and he found that it was useful. But eventually, because this friend of mine, she was also going out with another guy. Um, she started becoming really jealous and really envious of this other guy because he was a little bit more successful than him. And so he started throwing all these problems on me. And then I found myself that I was drawn to them. I wanted to resolve them. And now it was my friend, like the guy I was living with, the girl he was dating, that she was also my friend. Both of them were sharing with me all their problems and conflicts, and I tried to help them to resolve them. And then eventually this other guy that this girl, the friend girl of mine, she was also going out with, he also connected with me and started sharing about why is this girl going out with me and with this other guy, what's the problem with her. And so I found myself in the middle of this triangle in which I was trying to help everybody have the best relationship with this girl. And so I was like, I just started questioning myself. In this moment, I realized that there was something shady, something wrong, something was smelling disgustingly, right? So, and I was meditating a lot at that stage in my life. So I was self-reflecting a lot, and I started contemplating, okay, why do I always find myself in conflicting and dramatic situations with other people? And this was going on for a while, for years already, but this was the culmination, like it was the tip of the iceberg, right? It went to that extent in which I was in this triangle trying to help everybody, and I found myself overwhelmed because all of them were sharing their feelings with me, and I was trying to give advice, and I almost found myself abandoning my own values, needs, and goals to try to help them. And I questioned in meditation, okay, why is this happening? What's the purpose of it? And I know I'm giving advice that's helping, right? But they consistently come back with more intense emotions, and I started feeling overwhelmed. And I was thinking to myself, why? Why? What's going on? Why does everybody like treat me as their soul trash bin, right? Their soulful trash bin. They're throwing all their emotions to me at me and knowing that I could help them. And I always agreed to help. And I was wondering, why would I do that knowing that it feels overwhelming? And so by asking myself this question in meditation, eventually I realized that deep within myself, I was holding on to this belief system that I believed, I was deeply afraid that conflict was something dangerous, that it wasn't healthy, it wasn't something that I could tolerate and I could live through. And based on that belief system, I realized that unconsciously I was drawing to myself all this conflict and drama with the hopes that if I'm able to resolve the conflict and drama of other people, eventually I will be able to face my own conflict and drama, right? So this is the hope that my ego was holding on to. And so I looked at that and I realized I'm torturing myself. This doesn't make sense. Like, I am afraid of conflict and I am trying to run away from conflict, but at the same time, I feel drawn to resolve the conflict of other people. And then I recalled back in my mind, I was working I was doing sales in this company of a friend of mine, and in that company I was always like, when there was conflict, when there were different interests, and I was always like trying to help resolve that conflict, but in a way I was trying to run away from the intense overwhelming feelings, and I was trying to help, but it didn't work. And so I was always drawn to conflict, but I was never able to resolve it. And then in meditation, by reflecting, I realized yeah, it's true, I really am afraid of conflict, and there is nothing I can do about it. Conflict is inevitable to happen, right? Because what is conflict ultimately? Well, conflict is just the fact that two people can have different opinions on one topic, and that's why they enter into conflict. So conflict is an opportunity for greater intimacy. But I didn't know that at this stage in my life because I was afraid of it, and I was trying to fix it and try to fix the drama of everybody, compared to just trying to listen and be there, right? Being compassionately open and empathetic without necessarily trying to resolve the conflict of other people, but sometimes offering my help, not necessarily giving it when it's not needed. and feeling overwhelmed by that. Because this is how the belief system operates. When I was afraid of conflict, I was always drawn to it because I was unconsciously attracting it to my life, conflict and drama. And so I realized, okay, and I never liked conflict because it always triggered this intense, overwhelming feelings that I wasn't able to accept and to surrender to, and to then integrate within myself so that everybody feels good. I was trying to help everybody, but not combining, not inviting other people which are conflicted together and making them talk to one another. I was trying to help everybody one by one, with the hopes that eventually each of them will listen to my advice and they'll resolve their conflict, as I shared in this situation. But what happened inevitably is that I found myself in the middle of this triangle, and so my efforts to resolve the conflict of these people didn't work out, and I was like, okay, I cannot do anything about it. So the only way I can actually help these people is if I let go. Help these friends of mine is if I let go. If I accept the fact that maybe I'm powerless and maybe it's not my responsibility to tend and to care for the drama and conflict of others. Because if I feel that it's my responsibility, then I will always attract to myself conflicting and dramatizing situations, right? And I was tired of it because it felt so overwhelming. I was carrying this weight on my back that was weighing too heavy at this stage. And so in meditation, I accepted that, yeah, I am afraid. I genuinely, honestly feel afraid of conflict. I feel it's too overwhelming. I cannot accept it. It's too much. And so then, at this moment after the meditation, I think a couple of hours passed, and all of them again messaged me. Like I was living with this friend of mine, so I was with him. So he was asking me question. This girl and the other guy that this girl was dating, both of them messaged me, and again I felt overwhelmed. And now this belief triggered again. I am afraid of conflict, and so I thought to myself, last time I tried to resolve their conflict by talking to each of them individually, it didn't work. So now I realize that maybe the only way to let go of the belief that conflict is something dangerous is to go directly into it. And I know that each of them were in conflict together, and I was trying to resolve that, right? It didn't work. So at this stage, I decided to do something different. I decided to put them all together in this group chat in Messenger, like say uh, say to each of them that I was talking to each of them and trying to help them, but it didn't work out, so I felt powerless. And I shared this vulnerably in a voice message in this group chat, and I told them, "Look, guys, I I I grouped you together in this chat. Now I want you to like go through your shit and find a solution." And so one of the guys, he felt triggered. This friend of mine I was living with was like, "Well, Danny, that's genius. Thank you." And the girl, she felt a little bit ashamed. But eventually, all of them opened up and started communicating in this group chat, and they actually resolved the conflict that I was trying to resolve, which wasn't my responsibility. But since I was afraid of conflict, I was drawing this situation to myself, and it wasn't possible to help in them, even though it seemed that I was able to, but it never worked out ultimately because it was just perpetuating itself. And the moment I went into the conflict and put the conflicting people together in one place where they could communicate with one another transparently, and I told them, I want you now to share all of your feelings here in this chat so that everything resolves. And so they did that. And in 1 or 2 days, all of the conflict was resolved, all of the drama was resolved. And so from that day onward, it wasn't the case. This pattern was no longer running my life. So it's not that conflict disappeared altogether from my life. No, I'm not saying that. It still happens with my girlfriend, for example. Sometimes with friends I'm working with together and we're working on projects together. Sometimes we have different contradicting opinions. But now I see conflict as an opportunity for greater emotional connection and intimacy, because we are in conflict with other people, and this creates drama only when we're trying to reject the point of view of the other person, and we try to be right, and we try to help everybody even though we are not asked to, right? So I want to through this video and sharing this example, my intention is to challenge you to look within your belief system. And if you are surrounded by conflict and drama in your life, because a lot of chosen ones, they feel like that. And this can be one of a hell-like way of living. So it's not necessary. If you question your belief system, first inquire it, then question it, and then have the courage to let it go by facing conflict. You realize that conflict is nothing bad. It actually helps you become more emotionally close and intimate to the person you're having conflict with. And so that's why they did when I put them in that chat. And in 2 days, all of it resolved. So this is how I transcended, how I let go of this belief system. And I feel that this is the reason. It's like a collective belief system. It's there in the collective unconscious of humanity. And a lot of empaths and highly sensitive people, they just harbor and feel attached to that belief system because they feel that it's their need to help everybody. But no, my friend, I want you to realize that it's not possible to help somebody who isn't willing to help themselves. And I have repeated that 100 times in this channel, and I will continuously do so. But realize that ultimately, you are in a relationship with yourself, which is like this relationship is always there. So if you don't start caring for your own well-being, and if you put other first, well, not only you abandon yourself and consistently abandon yourself, but you'll find yourself overwhelmed by all the drama in your life, which is not necessary at all. Not necessary at all. And so if you started taking steps in putting yourself first and creating conscious, uplifting, transparent, honest, and mutually beneficial relationships with the people around you, but you still find yourself that you're attracted to toxic relationship and you feel tired of that, I would highly suggest to investigate your belief systems. And now, if you want to understand exactly that's how done, you can always go to that training I suggested in the beginning, in which you understand, you learn what are these 3 phases that you need to master until you surround yourself only with conscious, uplifting, and meaningful relationships. Generally with everybody in your life. Friends, colleagues, bosses, family, your life spouse or husband or boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever that is. So you deserve that, my friend. And now, if you're also new to this series, to the Chosen One series, I would highly suggest you check out the first video in which I also discuss about one belief system, that we are not enough. And we always feel that either we are too much or we are not enough. We do not accept the fact that we are just enough. So in this video, I share how you can let go and transcend this belief system, so you can check it out. I will put it also in the description and at the end screen. Now, this is everything I wanted to share in this video, so I trust you found it helpful. If this is the case, if you related to the story, if you like the content, like it, comment down below. Let me know what is your current belief system that is creating conflicting and dramatic situations in your life and is perpetuating them. Comment down below, let me know what is your experience. Subscribe to the Soulful Relationships channel if you're new to it, because every day or on almost everyday basis, I create content like that will help you experience the most conscious, uplifting, and meaningful relationships. This is a purpose I have of mine. I feel honored to do that. So if you're also on that journey, subscribe, and I would love to help you go through that journey. Thank you so much for watching. See you around in the next video. Bye bye, my friend. Enjoy your day. I love you.